referrals relies on a local network. I'm trying to build the local network. There's no point trying to refer unless there's not enough properties on there. So the world's a big place. So I've started building Sydney. I'm in Barcelona for the next month. I'm going to try and build a Barcelona network. But look, it is live. Anyone can use it. If you know other managers, then you know, you let people know and you can start using it. Now the other thing is, did you say, are you a listing site or you're a property manager?
I'm property manager.
Okay. So even with listing sites can be, were you a listing site? You are. So listing site can also be a property, an accommodation agent. So I don't know what your bounce rate is, but if someone comes onto your site and they're just tired and they're looking at it like, oh no, not more properties, you can actually have a button to say, if you can't find what you're looking for, if you don't have time, we can help you. And you offer this no search service where they're just going to get the curated selection and you earn a commission. So you get whatever payments from your listings, you can earn extra commission just by having that button say, let us help you. Yeah.
If I offer a guest, will that, and he books one property and 6 months later another, will that guest remain my...
No, it's just that one time where you refer to me. For every guest you refer in, it's just that one time.
So when the guest continues to stay in the network, the commission goes to your platform?
Yeah. But the idea is that if you give such good service, they'll come back to you. So this is the whole thing. The whole thing is about book direct and personal service. You know, like when I came back here this time, and I went back to the lady that I booked through last time. She's not doing it anymore, but you know, when you establish a contact, when you get such good service from someone, you want to go back.
Deborah, you can put a review system in the
yes,
platform
okay.
as well for both property managers and properties.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So with the managers, they will be reviewed on their service. So it's not about reviewing the property, that's between you and the guest. So there is built in a manager service review system. Now I was thinking, how can we do one for the guests? How do we do it? But I thought, in fact, the manager service review is at the very beginning, before the guest gets there, just before they arrive. Or maybe it's just the day after, I can't remember now. But the guest review should be at the end, after you've come in and you've seen if they've trashed your place. So that's not finalised yet. How do we do the guest review so it's completely honest? You know, we can warn other managers, but at the same time, it has to be fair. Yeah. So the review systems are all tricky at the moment. You know, like how do you make it fair? How do people have come back? You know, anyway. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a review system for both.
In terms of guest data,
yeah.
Dare I say GDPR?
Yeah.
Once the property manager refers,
yes.
How does the data work from that point onwards for the referrer? Once they refer, is that it? They do not have the right to speak to the guest again, or
no. Well, look, the thing is that the guest has come to you, and when the alert goes out, there is a tick box that says the manager that books with you, you know, that is that you're okay for your data to go to the manager that you're going to book. Yeah. But the thing is that they've already come to you. So if you want to get in touch with them again, I mean, they have approached you. Yeah. You definitely put them into your CRM.
I think the fear of sharing can possibly, and I manage a company in London. It's very, very competitive.
I know.
And I think the fear can be, once you've handed a guest over to a pool, or however you want to see it, you're never going to see that guest again, and you've lost them. And there may be a possible feeling of, if I can't have them this time, I'll stay in contact with them and have them the next time. And I mean, I'm thinking of one in particular that I lost recently. He's a CEO of a global company. But if he had a good service somewhere else, then he'd stay there.
Okay.
So there's slight cynic in me.
But if you couldn't help him, and you turned him away, you've lost him. Because he's gone somewhere else, and he could get good service. If you can't help him, you've turned him away. What you're doing is you're saying, I can't help you this time, but I can offer you this great service.
Yeah.
And he might come back to you because you helped him, or he might end up with this other person. So the thinking now, because my thinking is, because the OTAs are getting so big, we need to pull together. This is all about collaboration. We all need to collaborate. We need to share the guests. There will be a pool, and instead of being competitors, we now need to be allies. So you might turn a guest away, but someone else is turning a guest away to you. You are going to get a booking out of this. So this is why, you know, we have to actually say, okay, I'm going to, remember, you're already turning away that guest. You don't know where that guest has gone, or what they've booked, or how good a service they've got. So this is actually turning them away, but you've still got that little string saying, I'm giving you a service. Yeah.
I guess part of your concerns, which I also shared as well, but is if the guest is wanting to come to a specific place in a specific area, so it could be West London, you know. I mean, I don't have the business in the UK anymore, but I used to have a business in the UK where I actually then I'd already created my own strategic alliance with 2 or 3 other like-minded providers in the same area. But what I would do is I would present to that strategic alliance partner already a gift wrapped guest, so they wouldn't necessarily have, I wouldn't just hand them over to them. But in Deborah's situation, what we're presenting is literally, if you don't have that strategic alliance with someone and you literally have nothing to offer the guest, which has happened to me many a time, psychologically, if they speak to someone and say, oh, I thought you were going to book with so and so. Oh yeah, I phoned them, but they didn't have anything for me, so I just left it. That's not a great note to be left on. If you say they didn't have anything, but actually they helped me out, they gave me such and such. Well, that's you know, psychologically it's leaving with a positive, you know, memory of their interaction.
Your help. Yeah.
The other thing I find is sometimes, particularly in the London market, there's this kind of white labelling culture, whereby different companies help each other but kind of wrap it up in a white label.
Is it automated?
No, not really. But anyway, I'm just sort of mulling things over.
That's all right.
I love the concept.
Well, the idea is that it's as simple as it is like a listing site, but you know, it's either you fill in the form or the guest fills in the form, and it's mainly tick boxes. So what the idea is to really get, okay, you want your guests to have the best experience possible. You don't want them to rock up against a flat or the property and go, oh, shit, we forgot to check if it had this or that. So the idea is they go through this checklist and there's all these reminders. Oh yeah, we really like that. Oh yeah, we really want to be near here, blah, blah, blah. So this way, those properties come to them and then they are going to have a great time because they've got all the features and facilities they wanted. They did actually have to go through and decide on their favourite, and they've had great service. So, all in all, you know, they should be having a really, really great experience on the site. With the site.
So, just go to the form then.
Yeah.
So, I've inquired with Seb here, and he doesn't have a place as usual.
Yeah.
And he's put it into the system.
Yeah.
And essentially I'm looking for something that's got air conditioning, 2 bedrooms, sea view, super yacht outside.
Yeah.
And I do tick boxes for that.
Yeah.
And then that goes to suitable managers.
Correct. Now at the moment,
chosen from the filtering element.
At the moment, because there are pages and pages of tick boxes, like 4 or 3 pages, which are very specific location and features and things like that. At the moment, the main features are location, number of guests, number of beds, number of bathrooms, number of bedrooms.
Okay.
The other features, you will, when you get the inquiry, there's an alert that matches your property. You will see the list of features that the guest is after. It's up to you to say, if your property has these features, then you send a quote. Now, I believe that you can maybe miss 1 feature, maybe 2, but there is an opportunity to say, okay, this property is really, really great, but unfortunately we don't have fireplace in this property, but we've got underfloor heating and la 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 la. Another way, just to sell the property, or what else do you have? Oh, we've got a huge picture window with a beautiful view of the lake. You have an opportunity, even though they're not going to get this, it's like, okay, don't be disappointed, but we have this. So you have an opportunity to sell that property, even though you might not have every single feature.
So do you rank managers in terms of what their capacities are.
No.
So, you know, the guest is expecting instant booking these days, instant payments. You don't. So this manager's got instant payments.
No. There's no ranking, because this is another bugbear of mine anyway in the OTA. There's no ranking to be at the top. At the moment, so I funded Have You Got from my own savings. I've only been able to get it to a certain point in terms of automation. So once I get funding or partners or whatever else, then there will be more automation. But right now, you'll get an inquiry like you do on Airbnb or Booking. If you don't have Instant Book, right, you'll get the inquiry. Then you have to fill in the quote. And I was actually describing, it was like, I don't have my rates set on any website. And I described it as I like my rates to be fluid. Stuff it, it's actually dynamic pricing. So when you send the quote, you put what you want on the quote. That eventually will be automated, because eventually it might be linked up to PMSs, so it can all be automated. But for now, no, there isn't a manual aspect. Yeah.
What about vetting of the guests and also the managers? So obviously on Airbnb, me personally, I think it's the best in terms of vetting the guests.
Okay, how do you vet the guests? Is it just through messaging?
No, we every single one of our bookings has to have government verified ID
Okay. Yeah.
and positive reviews from other hosts. Otherwise, they can't instant book, and then if they can't instant book, then we
Okay. So on Have You Got, there is a messaging service, and it is uncensored. So if you need to vet your guest, if you need to ask them any questions, or if you need to say, look, we need a copy of this, or we need your LinkedIn profile, or whatever, you can ask that sort of thing. There's no censorship. Website, email addresses, phone numbers, that's fine. Now, the other thing about your property, and one of the things about Have You Got that I designed for me again, because I don't like to keep things up to date, is that when you upload your property, you're actually creating your property business card. It's very, very quick to upload your property. It takes 1 minute, it's one photo, a little bit of information. You've already uploaded policies and house rules or whatever into your account, so that already pre-fills. And so what happens when the guest gets the quote, they actually click to your website, your web page, the property web page on your website. So they can read all the reviews of your property and see a lot more detail about your property. So they will know about you as a manager and the reviews of the property. In terms of you vetting the guest, you can actually communicate with them and ask, whatever you want. There is a blurb when they fill in their alert page, their form. One of the required fields is, tell us a little bit about yourself and the purpose of the trip. Because, we all need to know that. If I've got someone booking in a property that belongs to an owner, they're going to ask me that question. So we get that information as well.
And what about vetting the actual people on your site in terms of managers?
So there will be facial ID verification, and it's
but more so about their service. So are they up to a standard of service, so that if someone's giving their guest, sending it your way, are the other managers on the site up to a certain level of service, so that the guest doesn't think, oh my god, this has just been a complete joke.
I suppose the review system.
Yeah, the reviews is the reviews, yeah.
From your associates or pool of managers that you have in certain parts of the world, is there do you have a certain area that you're going to assign to a certain amount of managers? Do you have some sort of limit, or you're going to just throw it all in there and whoever wants?
No, I think there's no need to have any limit, because not everyone's going to have properties available at the same time.
Yeah, but if there's a really small area, like where I'm from, Cyprus, let's say Paphos, it's very competitive. There's 1 million people vying for the same properties, the same area. So
do you have different facilities?
Yeah.
Yeah, well then remember, it boils down to the specific requirements of the guest. It's going to be requirements of the guest, it's going to be budget, it's going to be the property. How
But
do guests decide
there's
now?
certain managers there that cover so many properties. They've got them exclusively. They can't handle them all, but yet they've got those properties. You can't really take it away from them. You know what I mean? So by denying that manager access or giving him the access, you're actually denying someone else the opportunity to get on board, so to speak.
Okay, a manager is a manager. If their livelihood depends on it, then they can be on there. But they have to be independent.
Yeah.
They must be able to process a booking on
Because
their
I know
own.
specifically one agent down there, and another one that have so many properties they don't handle them all, they can't handle them all, but then if someone books through there, they actually jump to the other manager and say, you know what, they're ours, and they get the customer as well, and they say, you know what, you're exclusive to us, why have you gone to someone else? And they do that, that's really, you know, they like stealing, yeah.
So that's a really good question. Are you only dealing with managers who have exclusive properties?
No.
'Cause
No,
you are-
independent, right? So
No, that's a good question.
You
because
are
there's-
going to end up with a morass of people with the same properties.
If like 5 or 6 have the same properties as well, and they're all on board.
Imagine Interhome
Well-
10 years ago who had like 200 different distributors, you know? We'd have 200 of those companies, all with the same system.
With the same property.
Well, you see that
Maybe
on
we should
Home
keep
Away,
going.
you can see the
Yeah,
same
we have
property,
an
they're
hour
just
already.
renamed.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Maybe we can have just, we can
So
have,
you've
yeah,
got
we
the same
can-
property,
Yeah, yeah.
5 or 6 different names, but it's the same property, effectively.
I'm suggesting we go to the other OTAs, so, and then we can discuss at the end.
Yeah.
Who here has alternative OTAs? I know you guys have, so anybody has something else? Alternative OTAs, like
Yeah.
projects like hers. You, okay, so, would you like to go, guys? You two? Okay, would you like to present?
Yeah, sure.
what you
Sorry,
do?
it's only supposed to be 10
And
minutes.
so, we see everybody and at the end we
Yeah.
can maybe discuss on
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, first of all, thanks to Deborah and Luca for arranging this and the opportunity to say something about our company. My name is Marco, I'm a market manager for Everystay. We're based in London. James is my colleague, he's actually head of sales, so he's my boss. We consider ourselves alternative to OTAs, even if we're not a booking platform. We have a listing website, but
That's good, actually.
we have we work with an inquiry model. So basically, our goal is to connect agencies, guests with agencies or property managers or even individual owners to book direct. We're not charging any commission. We do charge a small fee for each inquiry. Obviously, that's our website. Yeah. We actually are partnering with Home2Go. I'm sure that many of you know. It's a meta search website. It's basically trending a lot, especially in the German market, being a German website, and it's based on the best price. So obviously, our goal is to get on board agencies that are willing to provide a best price to the guests, and this way, obviously, Everystay will pop up easily on Home2Go because in a meta search, Home2Go is showing basically every booking partner of that specific property. Yeah,
Is it distracting? Sorry.
No. I was about to say that our focus market are in the, let's say, Germany, Italy, and Spain and the US mainly at the moment. So our inventory in our website is not so big, but still, Everystay was founded 3 years ago. So.
And the main purpose of it being here is to give control back to property managers.
Yeah, exactly. You were mentioning the fact that you're willing to use your own. You were willing to use, when you find it your company, your own terms and conditions. Ask for your cancellation policy. And someone else said about the vetting. Obviously, being an inquiry model website. We're offering this opportunity to the agencies so they can vet their guests before accepting the booking. One other important thing is that obviously we will not because of the vetting. There is no instant book, obviously. Yeah, so basically we're providing all the contact details of the guest, and
Integrated with channel managers will put in all of availability, so you can only inquire on a property that's available to book on those dates.
Yeah.
And we don't charge per inquiry, we charge per inquirer. So if you're a property manager that has lots of properties in a particular area, the likelihood is that an inquirer will make multiple inquiries to the same property manager. So what we say is we will be charged per unique lead, which is the email address of the inquirer that's inquiring into your property, and it's valid for 28 days. So if they make multiple inquiries, you get charged just the once. And obviously it's then down to you to vet, to talk to them about the requirements, offer alternative accommodation types. Should you do a fact find on them and understand their requirements are a little bit more complex than what they've inquired about, you have a better property, you can upsell it. You're just paying us the fact that we've delivered you someone who wishes to book one of your properties.
In the last years, we obviously we've seen some. We could share now some data about our inquiries, which are quite good from my point of view. The average length of stay has been 8 nights, so it's a specific target of guests, mostly families going for a long trip, and we've seen that they actually prefer the direct contact because sometimes they have they're afraid about something, they have maybe kids or pets, and so they want to double check with the property managers. The average gross booking value has been around 1,500 euros, and the conversion, obviously, speaking about conversion, is quite tough to get a good number from agencies because they're very different from south to north of Italy, different from Italy to Germany, etc. But overall, we have to say that we could say that 1 out of 4 inquiries are becoming actually
The conversion rate is key on 2 things, one of which is obviously up-to-date availability, which we will normally pull from the channel manager, and response times. Obviously, the quicker you respond to an inquiry, the more likely you are to convert it. There's people with better conversion rates, there's people with a lot poorer conversion rates, depending on, this normally boils down to response time, because we very rarely upload manually, proper portfolio manually, because of the issues with iCal.
So, you want to ask a question? No.
Yeah, just
go
where
ahead.
do you get your inventory from? Is it from Home to Go or?
No, we're actually giving them our.
So we get our inventory from cold calling,
you
channel
okay.
managers,
That was my question.
old school, just speaking to agencies globally and talking about our product and getting them to agree to work with us or not. We get referrals from like Avantio, Rentals United and other channel managers that see our marketing spiel and are interested in finding out more.
So for property managers, the advantage is that a booking from you is cheaper because you just pay for the contract. That's it,
Yeah. So people are looking because depending on how, obviously it doesn't work for every property manager. If you don't have a reservations team, then you're not going to handle inquiries. So we have to really understand on our fact finds with property managers and agencies globally what their infrastructure is like. If you've got a lean team, then receiving 10 inquiries a month depends on the portfolio size, may not be something they've got the infrastructure to do. So it would be a waste of money for them. We're looking at a conversion rate of 1 in 4 and saying €8 per lead, for.
Plus you get to keep the email address, because
Yeah, and you can offer return.
Confiscated,
Yeah, so for €32, indirectly if you've got good availability, your availability is up to date, and your response times are within 2 hours, you're getting, you're paying €32 for a booking versus 6% with the channel manager, plus up to what depends on who you're working with.
It is a flat rate, it's not a percent of the accommodation.
No, it's flat rate. And depending where you are in the globe, it does vary because of the economic situation in each country,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
So the manager pays per booking or per lead?
For the lead.
Regardless if it's booked or not?
Regardless booked or not,
It's a direct booking, so we never know when that inquiry is becoming a real booking, because we just give you the content.
so there are mechanisms in place, like you are able to what's the word I'm looking for, to mitigate your exposure. You can you can set a minimum spend that you want to do. So it'll be two inquiries per property per month, and the property goes offline and goes back online after a month, at the beginning of the month. So if you've got 2 inquiries per property because you didn't want to have too much exposure.
And basically it depends on the conversion.
Depends on your conversion, absolutely. Yeah.
But obviously, someone before mentioned the GDPR. From my point of view, a traveler was checking on On2Go, and he sees a property on On2Go available on those dates, and see different booking partner, and also every stay. As long as they have to fill out a form with their own data, and it must be genuine, obviously, for us to judge the agency for that lead, and name and surname, phone number, email address. Obviously, nowadays, someone that is willing to do that for a direct booking, the interest is supposed to be very strong.
And as long as the conversations you're having with that guest are related to the inquiry that they've sent, then they tick those boxes as they send the inquiry. So it means that as like with you, we're referring, as long as the property manager or the agency is discussing that particular booking or that particular holiday, that particular property, then we're covered by GDPR. You have to then get their permission, obviously, if you want to store that email address and then communicate with them about alternative things, then that requires their permission. So yeah.
Well, we go ahead and we leave questions for later. Would you like to introduce what you do?
Yeah, I'll just say very quickly, Deborah, if you want to see Deborah again next year, she's a speaker at an event that I'm organising next year. It's a conference called More Bookings Direct in London for property managers seeking alternatives and supplementary ways of sourcing bookings.
So what's the conference name?
More Bookings Direct.
Is this the booking direct thing or something different?
No.
It's separate.
Totally separate, yeah. And we're going to have speakers and interactive things on the day, but really exploring with our speakers, not every way, but a lot of different ways to generate direct bookings. Social media, collaboration, SEO, consumer trust, lots of different areas that property managers can really work on to really, and branding as well, and to push themselves and really kind of build their own business up and to make it their own business and retain control of their business.
When is it?
February 25th in London. So
More bookings direct.
More bookings direct.
More booking.
Come and ask me if anyone wants to know about it. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. So you don't have a project yourself, but you're organizing this.
Yes. Absolutely.
You are putting together. Nice. What's the name again?
More bookings.
No, your name.
Just going to get a bunch of it.
Damien. Comes out. More bookings direct.
Alright, cool. You prefer, I remember that one.
Mr. Bookings Direct.
Richard, you want to say?
Yeah, very briefly. So for those of you who don't know me, when I signed up for this, I was CEO of Rentivo. Since I've signed up, I've taken a strategic role, really, and I'm a VP of Stalefree, which is an American startup. However, I'm really interested in this because 3 years ago we took over, this was in Rentivo, a cooperative of 50 UK managers who got together to form a company called Love Cottages.
Say again, what's the name? Yeah, I can't hear it. What's the name again?
Love Cottages.
Love Cottages.
Love Cottages.
Okay.
And their whole concept was exactly this. Their idea was that they would form a company, they would all put money in, they would develop a platform, they would all have full integrations from PMS systems, and the inquiries and the bookings would go directly back to the managers. We took it over 2.5 years ago, I think, something like that, after a previous tech company had made some issues, let's call it. And it'll be in its next incarnation by Christmas as well in terms of technology. But currently it has 14,000 properties from probably, I think, 42 different managers, going from single apartments up to big party places. And interesting to hear your €34. The going rate at the moment, an acceptable rate, is about £45 to £50 for a booking lead, for a conversion on that. So that's quite interesting. The conversion numbers are actually very good from this, and it's growing. And we have a technology stack that allows all the integrations from multiple PMSs hooked into SEB as well here. And a full back-end integration, so the managers can actually say this was a booking, this wasn't a booking, this is the amount of money, it's all automated, it's all logged, entries, it's...
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And it's worked very well. But an observation here on managers. So I've been a manager. I used to own a company and I sold it in 2016. And one of the biggest headaches was staff, and the staff having to answer inquiries. And we loved inquiries because actually they converted really well. When you're on the phone to them and you can engage with them, etc. But my observations of managers recently is that as they scale beyond a certain level, they become very, very disinterested in actually doing quotations or anything. So even Love Cottages now, they are heading to instant booking. They're all integrating, we're integrating SagePay and Stripe and PayPal and all the rest of the things into that system. It's becoming more and more important because they're being guest driven. The guests are expecting to pay online and people don't want to pay staff. So I think for small managers, it still works really well and you get really good feedback from them. The big guys are saying, seriously, we're hooked into Sykes, Ways and all the rest of them as well. We're not really that interested in answering an inquiry. It's either book now on the phone or just book now.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question because this is actually a topic I wanted to touch on a bit later on, just as a follow. Instant booking, right? So if you're vetting your guests, and I like to, hear about my guests. I mean, I don't mind for the smaller, the Sleeps 2 studio, okay. But for the bigger properties, I like to vet my guests. And how do they get around with instant booking? You don't know the guest. What, you have to find out later and then cancel? So
The simple answer is they don't care. This has gone volume. This is seriously big business.
How do you vet on the phone?
I don't vet on the phone. I can just by chatting with them online, just the questions, what they're coming for. I haven't actually turned away anyone, but I have a rule of no under 30-year-olds. I used to have a 5-bedroom house down on the beach, and I learned the hard way about 10 years ago, after a big party, and I have a rule of no under 30-year-olds. Now, I have that rule, and I know everybody says, no age discrimination. Well, sorry, I need to keep my neighbours happy. I don't want, police and council getting involved. So I have that rule. So people actually, I've had emails, inquiries saying, oh look, we 28-year-olds, we're all professionals, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Great. Thank you very much for your honesty. This is the reason why I have it, but you know what? Go right ahead. That's fine. I appreciate the honesty. So I'm not really vetting. I don't look at Facebook groups and see, you're drinking and having wild parties. No. But I like to have contact with them. If I have an instant book for a 5-bedroom house right on the beach, I don't know what sort of phone calls I'm going to get from the neighbours complaining.
You're always going to have that though. I mean, at the end of the day, I think when you start in the business, you need to set your stall out. Are you a volume business? Like Richard said, they don't give a shit. They just want numbers. Or are you a bespoke business where you're going to be hands-on like that? And you obviously got a profile of owner who's got a big home, type of home you're describing, who wants you to be looking after it.
Yeah.
Or you've got an owner who doesn't give a monkeys, and inevitably and invariably they don't actually get a property manager. They'll just get someone to list it on these big sites themselves because they don't care who turns up. can do whatever you want with the property.
Isn't it a high price to pay that you come back, it could be damaged, it could be, or even the neighbours, you know? And
Yeah, but the thing is, it only takes it to happen once, and then they'll obviously have to go rethink it. You know, because it's all very well saying you've got a security deposit and I've got house insurance to cover it. That's all very well if you've got somebody checking in 5 hours later and the house is.
There's always a risk.
Yeah, there's always a risk.
You've got to look at the guests as well, and guests' booking behaviours are different in each region, country, globally. So I went on a family holiday with 5 other couples into Nimes in France this year, and we wanted to make lots of inquiries and ask lots of questions before we booked. And it was too much money to be instant booking. And if you go to Germany, for example, it's all inquiry and then they do a bank transfer. So it's not really a one-size-fits-all. We pulled out of the UK market as every state has having a sales team because I'm on the train, I'll give out my credit card because I don't care, because I know I'm protected by my bank. So I don't mind instant booking and I don't mind giving my details over the phone. But if you put the guest first, obviously we're not about the guest first, we're about the property manager first, trying to get them control back. But nonetheless, if you put when I speak to property managers, you've got to look at the guest, and not 100% of guests want to book direct, book direct, or inquire where you've got a 24-hour window for the property manager to then make a decision whether they book it or not. Some want to be handheld for lots of different reasons, whether it be special needs.
You've got a real subset. The large houses, the party houses, the big villas. You're not going to do an instant book on that.
Also about age, younger people book the
But if they
book.
do, but
The
if
Gen
they,
Zs and that will book direct, they don't care. And if you look at the instant book and the demographics of, you've got your city apartments where, like in London for example, where, based on what I'm reading anyway, so I'm not obviously a millennial, but they are very comfortable with instant booking.
Do you do instant book?
Yeah, we do, and obviously, as Richard was saying, there are some properties you don't. But actually, they can book, and then if it's not, you can cancel afterwards. Not that we often do that, but our houses are so expensive that I would actually argue it's the psychology of the guest. It's the fact that they see an instant book means that they know someone is going to reply quickly and they're going to be there on the other end of the phone, and they know they can do it instantly, but they'll ask questions. And with high-end homes, I'd be very alarmed if someone booked instantly. But it's the psychology of knowing that once they've asked those questions, there's nothing to stop them.
You seem to be interested. Actually, we run another site. The history for me, I used to live here and got married in the area stuff. I used to have a business here too, with 1,000 properties. I still run the website for 1,000 properties, and it generates a lot of business. But it's got instant book, and it's had instant book for 10 years. And nobody ever instant books.
Really?
No. They all,
Yeah, but you're right. The instant book guarantees that the price and the availability is correct.
everything.
Then they're going to contact you, but they know
It's the
that.
psychology.
Yeah, I agree
And
with
also it's the type of property in the
It's bizarre.
in the
But it's
and the
obvious.
type of traveller.
Right, right.
The only people that
Yeah,
really instant book for us
If I
are
only
business
see
travellers.
contact form, I'm gonna wonder, okay, I'm gonna write to this guy, that's how you sing, right? He's not gonna reply, the calendar is not correct, the
Yeah.
prices are different,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even write. So
It's
instant booking is kind of a guarantee.
instant book knows that you're on it. So the
Right,
person
yeah,
at the
you're
end
on
of
that,
it is on it with calendars,
Right.
pricing.
Professional.
Yeah, they're on it.
Especially if they're a super host, because obviously if they receive an
Yeah.
instant booking, then they have to cancel it, they're putting it their super host status.
It's a distance thing as well, though.
Sebastian, do you want to speak too?
So,
What are you writing? Secrets?
Yes.
What is in common stays in common. And on the video.
Yeah, sure. Let's go a bit further.
he's sketching a picture of you.
Oh, okay.
I might show you it. Yeah, so that's interesting. So, for a little background to what I don't know. So, Sébastien Grosjean is the CEO and founder of BookingSync and Smiley. So, what we do at BookingSync is we started 10 years ago, so they've come out with 30 plus years of academic knowledge. Started from my parents. I grew up into it. I did that for 12 years in different countries. And we face a lot of the needs that I see expressed today. And so BookingSync was a response to that. So to my knowledge, it was the first to distribute calendars. So we had 25 of them back in 2010. Yeah, yeah. People were scared about it because it was just like, well, sounds too major, I'm not going to catch that. But that was great. You could be on a boat and get 30% more occupancy than anybody else. And so yeah, that's where you can see both of us. We're going to check afterwards a bit different. So Booking Sync has grown from a system for small property managers. That's the one I was used to. So mostly 10 to 50 to 20, 25 properties. For now, that grew up over the years to be mostly for the 20 properties up to a couple of thousands. So we have our customers, people like Lucky that got bought by Airbnb or B&B Low Guest Ready merged. Austin Fly, Osmakers, all of these guys. So we have them to scale from pretty much 100 properties to 2,000 in 3 years. We have seen that pass multiple times. And we do that by providing pretty much an operating system for the vacation rental business. So it's much more than just a PMS, a channel manager, giving them an entire platform to build upon. So we provide them a lot of tools that are by default. They can expand to infinity with what they need if they need it. So that's one part of the business, so Booking Sync. Smiley is an answer to what I was looking for very back in the day, because I always grew up in villages, in touristic villages. A lot of my family, friends are running vacation rental businesses. And I really wanted to help them so they don't have to understand this complex mess that is going on between the different OTAs that change logic, pricing, restrictions every week. New systems come out of the market that they sadly don't use, even if they're great, because they just don't know about it. So what we do here is an extremely simple solution, and they really have to just do one thing. They smile to the guest and do the rest. That's it. So they handle the welcoming, the cleaning, maintenance if there is any, and we distribute them to 1,000+ portals, whether that's big OTAs, tiny market, niche market websites, tourist offices, you name it. We manage automated communication for whatever it can be, so contracts, payment collection, collection of review, check-in, check-out. And we always do that on their name. We never try to be taking their business. They own the business, we just help them automate it. So this is templated to their brand. It pushed to direct booking. They own their guests, so we don't try to take it. We help them actually collect the actual information, so they own that. We have them retarget the customer to increase the direct bookings. And to go as deep as we wanted, we also created a payment gateway, so we spent a lot of time and energy on that. So technically, we have a bank license, so we create bank accounts. We have a bank license, so we're a bank.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you knew that. Yeah. So yeah, we spent a year just on that license and hundreds of thousands of euros just to build that up. For the infrastructure, the security, all of that. So we did payment processing with 12 case way for years, but we had to go further, and you'll see why. Smiley is also commission based, so the point is basically you don't pay anything if it doesn't work. That's the model we see ideal for small property managers or owners. Booking Sync, however, is on a fixed fee. We realize usually larger PMs prefer fixed fee so they can plan accordingly. Now it gets interesting, and I guess that goes to the alternative OTAs. So Luca, you might be able to find it if you go at the bottom of Smiley. There's a new page. It's your own portal. Yeah. So this is still very new in terms of awareness. But basically, this was a technology we had and a problem we faced. We also have a website builder for years, and what I did before Booking Sync was actually a website generator. So I have a background into that, multi-language, and so forth. And the point is really to help managers, the same way as we discussed here, to create their own websites or micro OTAs and niche market website and cooperate together. So that's what I ended up doing in Greece. If I go back 7 years ago, I did 30% indirect, 70% through HomeAway. And so that was the situation I was facing, and I was like, well, HomeAway is damn too strong, I don't like that. And a lot of my competitors was also using our systems, because I always was open that my competition is actually on different islands, and we were looking to get more airplanes to the island rather than competing to each other. So we was very open to actually sharing when we were too booked because we were in query mostly at this point. And so I created a small OTA on that island. It still exists today and it generates more bookings than general OTAs. It's one of the main ones for the island. And so all that together came up as now we can generate this platform in about 15 minutes. So it's instant bookable inquiry, you choose. The properties come from any booking single Smiley accounts. You make the selection if your OTA is location based, if it's search criteria based, whatever it is, you only get the properties that are fitting this criteria. On top of that, you can vet them, so you have the ability to say, okay, I want properties to be vetted before they go live, so you can accept them or reject them as a manager of that platform. You can set a fee for this platform, it can be commission based, it's usually what we recommend. So then the owners and managers can decide to even make a markup if they want, because it might be okay to actually pay a 10% fee instead of the 14, 15, or sometimes 30% paid elsewhere. We realize it's hardly a problem when they get a qualified lead and an instant booking. So where we end up with the data protection, as Daniel mentioned before, is everything goes directly to the account. So basically the whole model is we feed inventory from all the different sources. Yet the booking process goes directly to the PM, to the managers. So the calendar is instantly checked. If it goes to an inquiry, it goes directly to the inbox. The prices are live. What is you have the payment is direct, the cancellation policy is there. There's no middleman to control that. They are the one in charge. The point is just an aggregation in place for managers and owners to collaborate and share their authority. So now when I was in Greece, I grew a bit of business beyond the family side, took all the properties because it worked well and they had a lot of demand. Since then, I focused really just on the vacation rental, on the software side. So I split the business in three. One part is still with my parents, one part is with my ex, one part is with a friend of mine. And we basically have 5 websites on top of all these properties that cross-sell, upsells each of them. And that works super well, and we never have to worry about anything because everything is instant, everything is synchronous, and we just know to perfection what's the source because it's tracked internally. And because we have our payment gateway, the payment is split automatically, so we don't even have to handle payment collection afterward and redistribution because our payment platform handles payment split out of the box. So it's just moves, and there's no problem of tracking because it's tracked to the source in the website. There's no way to override it down the road. Support multilingual, multi-currency. So that's so far where we are. And what I think one of the best thing of all is that this platform is free. So anyone that wants to create one of these things, we give it for free. We just pay the commission.
That's not free.
If it works, great. If it doesn't work, we
What
do
is,
it.
when you say split
No, but that's-
commission, what do you mean? Sorry.
So it means on platform, we usually recommend to be commission based rather than a fixed fee. Because fixed fee always means that you have a guarantee to lose, but you're not sure to win.
Yeah.
From an investment standpoint, that's, to my point of view, only good as not as you are limited because you cannot do instant booking because you have certain limitations that make it not possible. But as long as you can go to instant booking or process that guarantees the flow of payment and you can control it, when you are commission based, basically you have zero risk because you're only on performance. So you only know what you pay when you win, but you can't lose. Your inventory is exactly the one you want. There is no problem of synchronization, no problem of cancellation policy not being met. You choose that.
Do you have to be on Booking Sync to do this?
As of today, you have to be on Booking Sync or Smiley, one or the other. Technically, our APIs open the doors, so
It's quite
you
easy
can
to
go
move from
through.
guest. Quite easy to move from guest team.
They can actually import.
For free.
That would be. We do have a fee for imports, but it's usually because there is a lot of recollection. We realize of a lot of
That's a
them.
huge percentage.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure this is not free. Neither we are. Great software can be free. There's a lot of flavor behind it. And so that's fair. It's a great service. But yes, it's different service for different needs. So I believe we addressed some of them. So back to your question, yes, inventory have to be in some shape or form today from Booking Sync mobile or Smiley. However, as Richard explained today, we can feed our inventory to Rentival. I don't see why you could not do the opposite. So it needs that account in between because that's for us our operating system. So sure, there's options. That's why we have open APIs too.
Luca, I think it's your turn.
Anybody else who?
Actually, yeah, one tiny comment, that's fine.
Yeah.
We also have that running for tourism offices. So right now we have about 8 tourism offices that run on such OTAs. In less than 6 months, it's generated about 0 bookings. It was inquiry only. And now for the properties that move on to Smiley and instant booking, they have about 10% coming from these tourism offices. That's interesting. 6 months. So that's huge. So yeah, traffic is just at very poor tech, very poor inventories, no bookings. Yeah. Now,
How much is the commission?
so the commission for a property owner on Smiley is 5%, plus the payment gateway, if it's used. So if it comes from Airbnb, it's not used. If it comes from Booking on the way or pretty much every other platform it is. The payment gateway will be between 2 or 3.5%. Depends on the origin of the car. And you don't have to do with anything around distribution with it. So you just reply to personal inquiries, if there is some. Yeah.
Any questions at this stage? Okay, then let's hear from Luca.
Okay. For the aperitif, the drink with Antonio later at 6 o'clock. Do you know about that?
Yes.
It's 3 minutes walk, so if you're not familiar with common.
I think people want to check in beforehand.
Oh, people have to check.
There's an early check-in.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I just go quickly. Well, so the basic idea of TripsCommunity is that in the last years, a new technology has been made available, which is the blockchain, which nobody understands, and because nobody has experienced it, because there's not much you can actually do with the blockchain. So that's a very early technology. But the basic idea is that we have the real world, the things we can touch. And then, well, 20 years ago, a new thing came out, which is the internet. And we have now an online world. And many things were made possible by the internet. And what the internet does, it makes very cheap and very fast to move data, pictures, text, video. That's all it does. And with these capabilities, it kind of changed the world. And then the blockchain came in, and the blockchain does something else on the internet. One way I like to call the blockchain today is the blockchain is making the internet like a super internet. It's making the internet much more powerful than it is today. Because the blockchain deals with trust. So if I see something in the blockchain, I can trust it. And let me make the example of eBay. When the internet came, suddenly I was able to find a buyer for my bicycle anywhere around the world. But then I would say, okay, that's my bicycle, send me the money. And the buyer would tell me, no, send me the bicycle, and send me the money. And then we were stuck. So we had companies like eBay who came in to fix the problem. They said, okay, you know what? Just I'm gonna do a reputation system. So when you send the money, you know that the guy has many good reviews, so he's not gonna cheat you because the bicycle is worth $100 and the reputation is probably worth thousands of dollars. So we had all these reputation management companies which take care of reputation. And these are third parties, people who come into the peer-to-peer relationship to make it possible. And then Airbnb came in, and Airbnb does something else. It also manages the money. It says, okay, send the money to me, and then I send it to the host after you check in. Without these companies, marketplaces wouldn't be possible, right? But the problem, and that's why we're here today, I guess, is that these companies they come in as helping a part of the transaction. They're not selling the goods. They're not. They just help a part of the transaction. By doing that, they acquire all the power, and they get into a position where they actually own the market, and they're able to extract a lot of money out of this transaction. So if I want to book a place in Sydney from Deborah, I'm not able to do directly. I have to ask the help of Airbnb or Booking or other OTAs. And at the end, it got to a point where without them I would not book, because they have the reputation, the reviews, they have the payments, and they have of course the discoverability. So the fact that they can find them online. With the blockchain, we can do the same without the OTAs. So a way I try to explain this is, and it's difficult to explain because you have not experienced it, all right? And it's going to be much easier in a few years from now. But the idea is that we can have an Airbnb, the platform which we all love and we all need, without the Airbnb, the company, which may sound a bit strange because we are thinking that Airbnb, the company and the platform are the same thing. They are two different things. The company is there to keep the platform running. So imagine a platform which runs exactly as Airbnb, but there's no Airbnb behind. So the question is, who runs the platform? Well, the platform is run by software. Think about it. Internet is a company, Airbnb is a company, and it's made of people and software, right? So you got the software. When you make a search in Airbnb, there's no people behind, it's just software, so it's automatic. And when you have a problem and you call the resolution center, then you have people, right? We can do this without a company now. Actually, not now, but we're getting there. So the software does the software. The searching and finding apartments, this can be done automatically already. The internet without the blockchain could do it already. And with the internet, with the blockchain, we can also take care of the trust issue, the reviews, right? One reason I use Booking or Airbnb is because I know those reviews are real, or almost real, most of them, right? With the blockchain, once I see a review on the blockchain, I know this is real too. I don't need to trust anybody, okay? Same thing for the internet, for the payments. Paying through the blockchain, I don't need to send the money to, put my credit card details. The money goes in Airbnb or to the payment provider. There's banks involved. There's a lot of people involved when I pay through Airbnb or Booking.com. With the blockchain, we can pay really peer-to-peer, and who's managing this is just a software. It's called smart contract. Okay. I try not to be too technical, but the idea is that we are really going into a place where we can do the same things we're doing with OTAs without companies behind. And once you remove the companies, you have removed the need for permissions, you have removed the need to pay back the investors, and so you have an infrastructure. Like, imagine that the water or the electricity is managed by a company which has to follow no rules, and they're going to charge us €1 per liter of water in the house, or €10 per liter. We don't allow that as a society because we consider water to be a basic infrastructure, the highway or the electricity. And booking platforms are going to be the same thing. They are infrastructure. All our businesses are based on these OTAs, and these OTAs are like water provider or highway provider without rules. They do what they want. They charge us as much as they can. So yeah, that's the direction we're going. So this is actually very good news in the sense that technology is making these business models they have old. It's already old. It's going to be less and less easy for them to justify these huge commissions they take and this big power they have. And yeah, so that's where we're going. So how are we going there? Is there a company which is doing that and then selling the service? No. There's the internet, which is distributed, it's free, and it's open. The blockchain is the same thing. Nobody owns the blockchain. Nobody owns Ethereum or Bitcoin. It's owned by the network. Then there's a company, these are our partners in Silicon Valley, who are building the open protocols. So they're building the software, in a way, for sharing economy. And then on top of them, many companies will build, and them and others, of course, they are building with open source software, okay? And on top of them, we, as Trips, are building the vacation rental vertical, okay? And that's also open source software. So this is going into a direction where we are trying with Trips, a way to do a booking portal, and then somebody else will try something slightly different, and then somebody else will try something local, maybe only for London, or somebody will go for a niche, and then we're gonna have hundreds or thousands of websites exactly like Airbnb or Booking.com on open source software, so you don't need actually to rewrite the software. You just use what's there and you improve on it, and when you improve it, it's improved for everybody. Okay, that's a bit the idea. And I just want to show you how serious this is in the sense that my computer forgot everything. I personally think the internet started well and ended up very badly. We are in a very bad situation with the internet right now. It's become the property of a few very big corporations like Google, Facebook, and so on, who are, well, they are kind of for society, for democracy, for freedom and privacy. We are going in a very bad direction. And this has been done by Silicon Valley, right? And I really like the fact that these guys are from Silicon Valley. These are the guys who built the internet as we know it. Like, let me show you a few things here. Okay, that's the team. They got $38 million from investors, and from the Silicon Valley investors, so from the real deal in a way. They sold them tokens. They didn't sell them shares. So they issued some tokens like Bitcoin, let's say. Their token is called Origin, and they sold to them. And sorry, I want to show you the team. The team of Origin is are people who have worked at high levels in these companies like PayPal, YouTube, Google, and Dropbox. There's a PayPal co-founder, and there's also a nice video later of the founder of YouTube talking about the Origin team. So why am I telling this? Because it means that there are very, very good engineers. The top engineers in the world are working on the blockchain solution for us, for our vertical too. And for them, the vacation rental vertical is probably the most important, right? And actually, the real reason I want to show you this website is because a few days ago, they put me here. So it's not bragging. But, and then, like, this is the PayPal. Okay, now let me go back here. We are just one feature partner, okay? There's if any of you wants to do something like we're doing, and just doing slightly different, you can use their software. It's completely free. You start uploading listings, and maybe your solution is going to be better than ours, okay? And this is completely open. And if you want to get our apartments, you can get them, and we will get yours, okay? As long as we both agree, and as long actually as the owner agrees. The owner of the apartment agrees. And this is like the YouTube founder discussing this this team and so on, okay? So again, we have the internet, we have the blockchain, we have, in this case, Origin Protocol, and then we have Trips, which is one of the future trials, one of the future possible ways you can do this. But everybody's encouraged to try them out. The thing is, it's really early. The software is not really ready. There is an app. If anybody using a little bit of crypto, like Bitcoin, okay. Great, yeah, I know. If you go to this website or Trips and you download their app, you can test it out. It's live on the App Store and the Play Store. It works. It's beta. It's 0.25, so it's full of bugs. But you can already earn tokens. They give you a few free tokens. And these tokens are going to go on the exchanges in a few months, so you actually can get some money. I'm not saying this is the next Bitcoin, but you never know with crypto. It could go really high, and it's a 10 minutes thing, so I suggest you to do that. You never know. And yeah, that's it. That's last thing. Anybody's heard about neo-feudalism? Digital neo-feudalism? I'm not pronouncing it very well. Feudalism.
Feudalism?
Neo-feudalism. Digital neo-feudalism. Okay. All right. I heard this in a conference in Sofia, and it blew my mind because it's actually is one of these concepts which you listen and you go like, okay, interesting, and then it doesn't go away, right? So feudalism is when there was a king who owned all the land, and he was giving pieces of land to the, what you call it, the lords, right? And then the lords would manage the piece of land and give it to work the serfs, right? The serfs had no rights on the land. They could be kicked out anytime, right? So they were building, maybe doing a house, whatever, and then maybe one day the princess passes and one of the serf looks in the wrong way, and the king sees it and he's out, right? That's then we as society, we changed and we said, okay, let's do the rule of law. I can buy land, I can lease land, there's a contract, and nobody can kick me out. I mean, there's no king who can kick me out. There's the rule of law, right? And the parallel was with what's happening today in technology. We have, the kings are the investors, okay? The investors of Google, Facebook, Airbnb, and so on. The lords are the companies. So in this case, Airbnb is a lord. He's getting the land from the king, and they are building something. They are managing this new land, and then gives to us, and we are the serfs. Why are we the serfs? Because anytime we can get a bloody letter from Airbnb saying you are out, right? You are out. I will tell you why. Don't ask me. All your reservations are cancelled. Goodbye. Now this happens rarely, luckily. But just the fact that it happens, it means we're not in a rule of law society, right? We don't own things.
Before
Why?
something like that happens,
Well,
you have
the
to be
blockchain.
really bad.
Sorry.
You have to be really bad if you don't Airbnb.
I wouldn't be that.
Regardless of
Yeah.
what you are.
Yeah.
You need one guest who comes in and
Yeah.
sees your light, and he thinks there's a camera, complains to Airbnb,
Yeah.
and you are out.
Yeah.
This happened a few weeks ago in Venice.
Yeah.
The guy had
In Venice,
1,000 reviews.
Yeah.
Out.
Gone.
Finish. Gone.
And all those bookings, all those reviews, he's
Okay.
got nothing.
Now,
Well, why did he have that camera?
he didn't have a camera. The guest told him he had a camera.
Skipped or something.
But Airbnb doesn't care. So what can I do? I'll just kick the guy out. I've got so many
Well,
hosts.
why do you know that? Sorry.
Well, the guy
I
said
read
it. It's on
There's
Facebook.
loads of stories on
And
it.
this happens a lot.
Yeah, and how does one you do something about it?
You can't do anything about it.
Airbnb, this is the final, this is,
Yeah, but
you
it
know,
doesn't
whatever
matter,
they-
they base their decision on a farce, on a lie.
Worse than that, they may be.
You go and
they
fight
may
the
be-
giants.
Yeah.
It's like fighting Google.
It's whatever the guest.
It's like fighting Google.
Who gives a shit? I mean,
Something had happened
go
and
for it. Why
Airbnb
let
just
them treat you like crap?
You can sue them.
Been there years, why?
Yeah, you'll sue them. You should sue them.
Yeah.
You're such a legal department. In 10 years maybe you'll see
Doesn't
this.
matter, man. You sue them because, you know what, a win for them is a win for everyone.
You sign on terms of
Question if you want to walk with the flag.
Alright, so.
Yeah, sorry. He's asking me to finish the story,
The
right?
point is,
Yeah. Guys, let me finish the story because actually that's the best part that we are working on, not on our land, on somebody else's land. How can we build our own land? So one way is to go and fight Airbnb and say no, we have rights. So we do the strike and we go the red flags, and that won't work because we're also competitors. And the other thing is just to leave or partially leave and to build something alternative. What's the big thing about the blockchain here? If you upload a listing in Origin Protocol today, it goes on the blockchain. You have some, say a password, it's like a private key. Origin Protocol doesn't own your listing, doesn't own your pictures. They are online. They are on the blockchain and on some distributed software, IPFS. It's like whatever, on the internet. Trips doesn't own your listing. Then you get 1,000 reviews, okay? Nobody can cancel these reviews. You control completely your own data. So maybe you're in Trips, maybe you do something bad. I'm gonna kick you out, okay? But maybe you're in another 10 or 100 websites and I can't cancel your reviews. Your reviews are one and they belong to you. Actually, they belong to the guest, but they are attached to you. And you use the same reviews all over the blockchain ecosystem. So we have, and this is managed by smart contracts, which are like contracts. So we have moved from a middle-aged situation to a rule of law situation.
You're going to have to explain what happens if it really is a camera. and the consensus
Yeah.
to get rid of them.
in the blockchain situation? Well, we are building one portal and you can build different ones. In our portal, we're gonna pick you up. I mean, we're gonna try to find out what happened, okay? And then we'll see. So there's also a consensus, and this is done by the network, it's not done by the company.
So it's a collaborative effort to find out what's going on and then.
Yeah, we call it panel. In Airbnb, you upgrade, you ask to Airbnb to decide, and Airbnb will decide. In our case, it's gonna be an app, a panel app, where anybody who's part of the network, hosts and guests, who wants to be a judge for this kind of situation, we get a notification. The first 5 people will get the job, and then they have 24 hours to decide.
Are those people that are part of the network vetted in some way? Because
No, they're not vetted. No, they're not vetted. At the beginning, it's going to be a bit difficult because
maybe, you know, sometimes there's there's the same company that runs lots of different smaller companies, and they collaborate to keep you out of something. I mean, I've seen it everywhere, and there's also an issue there where you're seen as a competitor, and they do it just to get rid of you.
the algorithm will randomly at the beginning assign this. It's going to send like 1,000 notifications. The first 5 get it. Okay. And the algorithm is trying. If the problem is in Como, it's going to try to send more notifications to people from Como, and try to keep a balance between guest and host.
Maybe it should have people that are outside of the network even more.
Well, everything is open to discussion. This part is not even developed. Okay, we are at the conceptual level for that. But
Because
there's
the
companies.
closer to home they are, the more interest they have in. If they had a real interest in kicking you out,
Yeah.
they'd be able
Yeah,
to.
I won't go much in detail with that because again, we just had the white
It's
paper
an
that's
idea, I'm
idea.
just saying.
There's whole companies doing only that, so we probably don't even need to develop that. We just blockchain companies, we just integrate and they take care of that. So we'll see. That's it. For
Some of you all want to run away and register, is that correct?
Yeah.
Do it in the morning too. Okay, well.
Oh, I totally wouldn't like that.
Who
wants everyone to do it?
I don't want to do it in the morning either, but I don't want to run away either. So, okay, any questions? Any last comments?
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and thanks for your questions. And you know, we can always continue over the weekend. We're all here, and I think it's very interesting. The one word that kept popping up from this side of the room and this side of the room is control. I think the bottom line is that we want to keep control. So I think, you know, the alternatives all want to give us our control back. I think this is one of the big problems with the OTAs. So thank you very much for coming. And,
Thank you.
They're not.